for our contractor clients, we basically take our logo off of the plans, off of the design. We put their logo and name on it so it looks like it's coming from them, which just, builds trust in their brand, and they just use our services to provide those designs and plans. And then we even take it a step further and secure the engineering for that project for our contractor clients. So they're not worried about submitting stuff to an engineer, calling the engineer, hey, where's the engineering plans? Can I get those back? I want to pull permits. There's a lot of time wasted right there with the back and forth between the designer and then the engineer. And then maybe the engineer needs to see a change, and then you have to go back to the drawing board with the designer. And there's just a lot of back and forth that a pool company would have to do on their own that we take care of all in-house for them.
This is episode 223 with Brandon Stephenson of DIY Pools and Spas. Enjoy!
Welcome to your go-to podcast for the pool and spa industry. My name is Tyler Rasmussen.
And my name is Greg Villafania. And this is the Pool Chasers Podcast.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Appreciate you taking the time to be on the podcast today. How are you?
I'm great, man. Feeling good and happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And I see you got that legit microphone. Can you tell the listeners why you have such a nice microphone, which I am surprised to see?
Yeah. So when I'm not helping people build pools, I like to sing. So I'm a folk singer and sing for my church as well.
That's awesome. And you caught me off guard because I was like, whoa, do you have a podcast too? I know there's a lot popping up lately, but I didn't realize you had a podcast. But then you told me that you sang, and that's different. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about DIY pools. What is your role with DIY pools, and how in the world did you get into it?
Yeah. So, it's been a long journey. I actually started this company with my dad. And my dad has been building pools since I was a bun in the oven, since a baby. And so I kind of grew up in the pool industry. I was doing, sales, design, job foreman, office management. I did a bunch of different positions as I grew up in the company. And pretty much our whole family's got involved. My brother did a lot of construction stuff. My other brother's a designer. My uncle actually owns a pool company as well in LA. And so our whole family's kind of just in this industry. And then when I was in my mid-20s or so, I stepped away from the pool business and started learning online marketing and started working with just different people and helping them to bring their businesses online. And so as I was doing that, my dad and I ended up having a conversation, and it led to DIY Pools and Spas, which was at the time just a side hustle. And it was a way for us to do designs and plans for homeowners looking to build their own pool. Because as a pool company, we kept getting a lot of calls from people saying, hey, I want to do this as an owner builder. Can you just do the plans for us? And we were always like, no, we're not going to waste our time doing that. And then, we hung up on so many people asking that eventually I was like, hey, you know what? We have the resources. Like, why don't we do this as a little side business and see what comes of it? And we ended up putting a whole program together and teaching homeowners how to do this themselves. And we really kind of put our pool business out of business by doing this. We actually closed the doors to our pool company this year and have gone all in with just DIY Pools and Spas, which is the company now that we run and helping homeowners to build their own pools. And we also work directly with contractors, helping them to design and draft their plans for their customers. It seems a little contradictory because you would think that pool companies might be, a little caught off guard, like, oh, what are they trying to help homeowners do this? And they're sidestepping us. But actually what we found is people who are doing owner builders are probably the worst customers for a pool company. So it's kind of serving this other market that either A, can't afford to work with a pool company, or B, is the type of person who maybe is kind of sitting there and observing everything the pool company's doing and asking too many questions along the way. Those are our customers for DIY.
I love it. So
Yeah.
walk me through this. A homeowner finds your website. They want to have a pool built and they're willing to go the rest of the way. Like, what exactly, can you walk us through that process of when they hit that site and what they do next?
Yeah, so the first step for them is to just schedule a call with us. We got to learn more about what they want to do and make sure it's even possible to do as an owner builder. Because there's some things that we feel like, oh man, you got to work with a professional if you want to, have this big crazy resort pool. But for simple basic projects or, just standard pools, it's a really easy process. And it starts with us taking care of the design. So we just get their vision. We do the design work for them. Once they sign off on it, we draft construction plans. We make sure it's to their local codes. So we have a running list of codes in all the areas that we service, which is most pool areas, like from California all the way to Florida. And then once we have plans drafted, we work with a locally licensed engineer. We take care of getting the engineering they need. And then we set them up so that they can go submit for their own permits. When you're working as an owner builder, as a homeowner, it's a different permit application. So you just submit as an owner builder, get those permits. And then we have a step-by-step process that we work with you all the way through construction. So we're showing you how to find and hire your subcontractors. We're showing you how to prepare for every subcontractor on site. And then we're also giving you some information on what should be expected of that sub and how to check to make sure they did things right. And so we have a whole series of videos and checklists for our customers to follow. And then we also have personal consulting for them throughout the process.
Very cool. Thank you so much for explaining that in detail. So I'm curious, are there any limitations to the design? Because you know how homeowner is. They have their Pinterest board. They've got the exotic pools they've seen on Instagram. They have all this inspiration, but I have to imagine that there are some design limitations to what they want.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, like you said, people get all excited when they go through their Pinterest board and they're putting all these acrylic walls and giant fountain walls that are 10 feet high and all these crazy things. And they don't realize what it actually takes to build it. And so, while we do want to help people get their dream yard, we also have to kind of regulate their dreams and bring them down to earth. And so that's kind of part of the design process with us, is educating people on, okay, what's actually possible? Because, technically anything's possible if you're willing to shell out the money. But when people don't realize what it takes to engineer some certain things, like an acrylic wall or a giant 10-foot fountain wall, it's like doing things like that take a lot of work and a lot of money. And so as soon as you bring people down to earth and they realize what the investment is, then they usually, have to alter their vision a little bit to get something that's actually doable.
Right. And I would think in that case, if somebody had, quite a bit of money they're working with and they have a vision for a pretty crazy design, I would think in that case, they would want a pool builder to really oversee that entire project and all the phases, because there is so much that goes into it that you would probably want somebody on top of it 24/7.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And, some people come to us and we'll do the design and plans and we'll tell them that. We'll say, hey, you know what, this project like this, you should maybe reach out to a GC or a pool builder and have them run with this, because if it does get complicated, it is nice to have someone to be on site like that.
Right. So they have the plans, and once they have the plans, they're working with you to figure out what the best subcontractors are to hire and schedule. Because I'm imagining they're the ones that are scheduling with everybody, correct?
Yeah, we don't do any of the scheduling for them. So they have to do all the legwork of finding and hiring those subcontractors. We do review the bids that they're getting to make sure pricing is lining up to industry standards. So that's really helpful in the process. And then we also have a large network of customers. So if someone were to ever, not be able to find a certain trade, we would reach out to our network and make sure we can find someone for them.
Yeah, I know when I first heard about even just any type of DIY pool, I thought it was just crazy. I'm like, there's no way a homeowner would be able to do that. But I have seen it firsthand quite a few times, and all from you guys at DIY. And I have to say that the process is really good. They do probably get hung up with understanding that it takes a while to schedule some of the contractors, like say plumbing, electrical, shotcrete, mostly shotcrete. That it does take a little bit of time, but other than that, we all know those customers that they might be an engineer or something, but this is like right up their alley, is looking at every little thing. And you're right, as a pool builder, your phone is going to be blowing up all day long because they just have an insane amount of questions. But with this, they're able to really kind of manage the entire thing.
Yeah, definitely. And it kind of goes back to that thing. There's two different types of people in the world. There's the type of person who has the money and doesn't have the time, and they want a pool company to do it. And I think that's great. We need pool companies out there doing this work. And then there's the type of person who either just doesn't have the extra money and they're trying to cut costs at every corner, or the type of person that is super type A and is going to be out there nitpicking at the subcontractors. And those type of people, I think, are best for an owner builder because they're better at overseeing stuff. They're a little bit more type A. They want to be involved in the process. They don't want to be hands off, or they just want to pinch those pennies and cut those cost corners. And being an owner builder allows you to do that and have a little bit more flexibility.
Right. So let's talk about what you don't do, because I know recently I had a question about somebody saying that you didn't do in-floor systems, and thought that was kind of weird. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't, but you do. So maybe you could talk a little bit about this stuff that you don't really do.
Yeah, so with in-floor systems, that's something we definitely don't create the plans for those, or we don't order it, but we can allow for it. We can consult on it and put it into the construction plan if they want to do it. Really, the only thing that we wouldn't do are things that the engineers don't feel comfortable signing off on. So we try to avoid any sort of custom engineering because custom engineering takes a lot of time and a lot of money. And we just feel it's not necessary as an owner builder to get into those weeds. So basically, any kind of engineering feat that you want to try to accomplish, whether that's, putting a giant patio cover over the pool with posts on the pool wall, or big giant walls, retaining walls, or fountain walls, things like that, we kind of try to steer clear of and just worry about the basics.
Yeah, or I'm sure like a hillside here in Arizona and Paradise Valley, there's some crazy hillside projects. I would imagine that's probably need a pool builder to come, oversee that.
Yeah, we've done some hillside pools. They are a little bit more challenging, and we try to prep people with that when they go into it. And we have to talk and work closely with the engineer to make sure it's possible and to make sure we're not going to hit any snags or anything like that. So really it comes down to the engineer. They're the ones whose license is kind of put on the line with the structure and foundation of the pool. And so really the ball is kind of in their court when deciding what is possible.
Right. So I'm assuming, and you don't have to name the software or if you built your own, but I'm assuming you don't have to go visit the property. You can pretty much do everything remotely, so it's pretty seamless and fast. Everybody wants it fast, right? So what does that look like? Because I know in the plans there's a lot of details about what's going on there.
Yeah, so we would have our customers oftentimes just upload a plot map or site survey and then take photos of the property. Some of them even give us a little video walkthrough with their phone. Just with that alone, we can we can do everything remotely. If for any reason they don't have a plot map or site survey, we'll use a GIS software that's inside of our design program that allows us to get an aerial view, capture elevations, and take all the measurements that way. So usually what we find is when you're working with satellite, things can be off maybe by a foot, but as you know, in construction, that's not that big of a deal. Once the pool's dug, everything kind of follows suit. And so if things are a little bit off from, if that's all you have to work with is satellite, it's okay usually. But just with the plot maps and site surveys, that's enough to get going. And what's interesting is actually with our pool company, we wouldn't set foot on site until a customer was under contract. We work with pool companies to help them inside of their business. And when I talk to other pool companies and I'm consulting with them, that's one of the things that I always ask is, are you still doing all of your appointments in person? And most of them are. And it's so interesting to me because, for the last couple of years of our pool business, we weren't setting foot on site until they were under contract. So you can do the entire first part of your business, selling the pool, giving the estimate, doing the design, all remotely. And that saves so much time. I mean, I don't know if you're aware, but when you're a pool salesman and you're driving from house to house and, only maybe one of those people sign up or, maybe only a couple show up that day. I mean, that's a lot of time. It's a lot of gas money and it's just a waste. And, we revolutionize people's pool businesses just by helping them to implement, remote appointments and remote estimates, all for that first part of the intake of the customer.
Cool. So if people that are, pretty much pool salesmen, they can reach out to you guys and you have some type of course or online learning that you can teach people how to do that more efficiently.
Yeah. So actually I work with them directly. So it's a consulting system. And we kind of just take a stock of the business, what they're doing, what's working, what isn't working, and then go through and modernize all of their systems so that they can operate more effectively and efficiently. So that's that. I did that for my dad's company, maybe about 6 years ago now. He called me. He was kind of drowning. He had so much work and he was like a one-man show. He was doing all the sales. He didn't have an office lady, and he's like, I don't know what to do. I have too much. He was stressed out. I thought he was going to have a heart attack. And so I went into his business, and I just set up all these systems, which is kind of my specialty. And it just changed the whole game. He was able to take on more clients. He was working way less hours, and he was selling more jobs because of the way we implemented these systems. He didn't have to check in with customers because we had automation set up to check in with them. We had automation set up in the business to prep each customer before the next phase of construction so that they were well prepared for what's coming next and what's on schedule. And all of that was automated. So he didn't have to continually write emails and make phone calls. His appointment setting was another thing that we just put onto the website. People would schedule estimates online. We'd take those estimates over Zoom, we had easy fill proposals, easy fill contracts. All these things are just save so much time. And so that's what we do with pool companies is we'll go in, we'll see, hey, where can you modernize? Where can you implement some new technology and some new systems that'll help you to actually, save tons of time and allow you to sell more projects.
I love that. Save time, save gas. It's 2022, almost 23. There's a lot of technology available. It's nice that there's people like yourself that know what's up and can show other people how to do it. So I'm going to, go more towards the subcontractors real quick. So if you are, a subcontractor for swimming pools in any one of the Sunbelt states or wherever you guys do work, how can they best work with DIY pools so that they can get leads from you guys?
Yeah, it's as simple as giving us an email. Just shoot us over an email. You can find our email on our website, DIYpoolsandspas.com. and just reach out. Let us know that you want to get on a list. We have a form for you to fill out where you'll, kind of give us your information, let us know what areas you service. We'll ask some questions of what kind of work you do, because a lot of subs will actually do multiple phases of a project. So we get all that information, put you on our list, and then we have that contact to share with our customers. Pretty simple.
Nice. So is there anything that you're looking for specifically? I mean, if people are, I'm assuming if I was doing something and I'm just getting tons of negative reviews, negative feedback, I'm assuming you're not going to keep recommending me, right?
Correct. Yeah. So actually, we have a group for all of our customers where we can all interact and they can interact with each other. So not only are we sharing resources that come to us, but also our customers are sharing resources with each other. And that also means if somebody doesn't do a good job, if a sub doesn't show up, if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, well, it's talked about in our circle. It's talked about in our groups. It's notified so that we can remove them from a list and make sure that nobody else uses them. So it's kind of like a system of checks and balances, which makes sure that, everybody's getting good quality work.
Making sure they're licensed, right?
Oh, that's huge. Licensed, insured. Those are big.
Because that is a very big problem out here, is that there's a lot of unlicensed contractors, doing this work where they're not, paying their dues like all the other legitimate businesses. And they might be good at what they do and they're kind of flying under the radar because, they haven't got hit yet. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of boxes you need to check before, you can become, legitimate.
Yeah, that's the number one thing that we tell people to start with. Is the first question you ask a sub is, are you licensed? And you ask them for their license number. If they can't provide that, it's probably not worth working with them, because if anything were to go wrong, I mean, how are you going to hold them liable? They're not even licensed.
Right. So dealing with professionals, most, we'll take plumbing, for instance. We want to pick maybe the equipment that we want for these pools. And I know that when you sell a package, there is a certain type of equipment that comes with that. Can you talk about the equipment that's in that package and if that can be changed at all and how you would do that?
So we are partnered with Hayward. We really love Hayward pool equipment. As a pool company, we primarily used Hayward for all of our projects. Number one, we think that they have the largest service network available. So it's really easy to get service if you need your equipment serviced. Right now, they have the best warranty available. It's a 3-year parts and service warranty for their customers. And then we also find that they have the best energy efficiency rating. So we primarily work with them with our clients. That's what we get for them. However, some people really want to use someone else. They want to use Pentair. Pentair is another great equipment brand. Jandy is another one that's really well known. And if they want to work with any other equipment, they're welcome to do so. They can order it through the subs if they want. That's what we would recommend that they do. Or they can go order it themselves and then have it delivered. We're going to recommend Hayward just because they're our partner. But, equipment can be changed out.
Okay, perfect. Just seeing if it was even a possibility if somebody can make that change, because everybody has their preference. Some don't really care, but most companies, people are pretty much stuck to brand and have that relationship for all kinds of different reasons. But it is nice that you can do what you like pretty much.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, because we work with a lot of pool contractors. And, when we do plans for contractors, we're putting their logo, their information on those plans. So if a contractor has a certain type of equipment that they're used to, that they want to use on the job, we list all of that equipment on the construction plan for them. So we don't ever try to push our stuff, especially on a contractor. The only reason we would partner with Hayward and push that is for homeowners who maybe have no idea what good equipment is. And we just want to make sure they're not buying some cheap piece of junk off the internet, you know?
Sure. And how successful have pool professionals been with, using the DIY program? Because I know the majority is probably homeowners having a pool design built, but for the professionals, like, really, how successful has that been?
It's been really successful. It's been gaining a lot of traction. I would say that maybe close to 30% of all of our business is contractors, actually. And you would never know because we don't put our label or anything on it. But what we find is that a contractor doesn't have the time, or the salesman or their designer just doesn't have the time to do things the way they should be done when it comes to design work. So our designs are really amazing. We have an amazing design team. And I think that our 3D renderings really help sell projects. And that's the feedback we've gotten from pool companies, because we are actually rendering their backyard to look like their backyard. We're taking pre-existing things in the yard, putting it in the design. We're actually modeling their entire house to actually look like their house. So when a customer sees that, they're able to actually envision what this new pool is going to really look like in their yard. And it immediately sells a job because people get super excited. They can really see it come to life. And I've seen, pool companies throw out these renderings or designs that just kind of look very simple, mediocre. The backyard maybe doesn't have any fluff. Where do we really focus a lot of time and energy into those designs? And it shows. And so when a pool company shows up with their proposal and they are showing this design that looks like somebody spent hours and hours of time doing, it speaks volumes to the customer, and they feel like, oh, this company is going to take care of us. Look how much time they've already put into this, and we haven't even signed up or given them $1 yet. And so that really helps bring on new customers. And from the feedback we're getting from pool companies, I mean, they wouldn't continue to use our service if it wasn't working for them.
Sure. So, I mean, we talked a little bit about this prior to hitting record. And I thought this was like game changing, is that you can kind of white label this, where, say I wanted to start a company and I kind of gather information on a sale or something like that. But you guys are the one I'm giving it to, designing it, but I can put my logo on it and, show them. So I get all the credit for, all the designing, pretty much like the sales piece of it. But I just thought that was so cool. So maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit more.
Yeah, so for our contractor clients, we basically take our logo off of the plans, off of the design. We put their logo and name on it, so it looks like it's coming from them, which just, builds trust in their brand, and they just use our services to provide those designs and plans. And then we even take it a step further and secure the engineering for that project for our contractor clients. So they're not worried about submitting stuff to an engineer, calling the engineer, hey, where's the engineering plans? Can I get those back? I want to pull permits. There's a lot of time wasted right there with the back and forth between the designer and then the engineer. And then maybe the engineer needs to see a change, and then you have to go back to the drawing board with the designer. And there's just a lot of back and forth that a pool company would have to do on their own that we take care of all in-house for them.
Very good. And you talked about, 3D designs. Are you able to put together kind of like a video, or is it like, what exactly are they getting? Because I know, once things move into 3D, it's like, man, game over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, cause you can really get a feel for, like, say you wanted, ledge lounger chairs in the pool, you wanted an umbrella in there, and you can actually be in a rendering of your backyard with all these features that you wanted. That's really cool.
Yeah. So that is something we do for all of our customers, whether you're a contractor or a homeowner. Is as soon as the design is signed off on, which means the client loves it, then we render a 3D video walkthrough for them that goes around the entire yard, shows every single angle of the pool, how it's going to look through, your kitchen window, how is it going to look in this corner of the yard? How's it going to look from above? We show every single angle, and we show time of day as well, which is really cool. So you get to see the whole pool come to life at night and how it's going to look with lights all around it. And those lights are changing colors. You get those LED changing lights, and you can see all that taking place in the video renderings. And those are super cool. And what happens too is those are being sent out to customers as the customer's kind of sitting idly, because, there's this process of engineering and plans and permits where the customer's just kind of sitting there and there's nothing for them to do, and they're just waiting. And so the fact that they get this little video as a thing to hold on to during that time, I think kind of wanes that anxiety off a little bit and allows them to focus on, hey, look what we're doing, look what we're building towards. And it's something they can share with their friends and family and get excited about.
Nice.
We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, Greg and Brandon discuss how you could be better prepared to work with DIY, their project management process, and several marketing tips you can try. This episode is brought to you by Leslie's. Leslie's continues to deliver for pool trade professionals by providing benefits no one else can offer. The Leslie's Pro Partner Program can help you grow your business through referrals while also providing their most exclusive pricing and best-in-class warranties on equipment. The Leslie's Pro Partner Program is for pros looking to build a true partnership with their supplier. Stop by your local Leslie's to learn how you can become a pro partner today, or check out episodes 151 and 165 of the podcast for more details. This episode is also brought to you by Lion Financial. Partner with the industry leader in swimming pool loans, Lion Financial, to make backyard dreams come true. Lion Financial has financing options for swimming pool and home improvement projects of $5,000 and above, including pool equipment. Their programs offer your customers the very best in pool financing solutions, including rates as low as 2.99%, terms up to 30 years, unsecured loans up to $200,000, options available for credit scores of 600 and above, and no consulting fees. Lion Financial is your one-stop shop for pool financing solution, now offering both cash direct to customer loan programs, as well as loans that pay you directly in stages. It is absolutely free for pool contractors to partner with Lion Financial. Financing options made it easier for your customers to say yes to a pool. Lion Financial never charges prepayment penalties or consulting fees to your clients, and partners with both you and your customers until the project is complete. When it comes to something as important as a pool, work with true professionals who have the best interests of both you and your customers in mind. With more than 43 years of experience specializing in pool financing solutions, why trust anyone but the experts? Call Lion Financial today or visit the link below.
So what's some good advice? I guess this is for homeowners, builders, anything like that. How can people be better prepared when working with you? Because I'm going to ask, what the lead time is maybe for the first design, and, if there, is a limit to how many revisions can be made. But is there some, good ways to prep, whether it be, looking at different tile styles, what type of interior, what color interior, like what are some things that if people can really kind of decide on prior to getting to you, like what exactly should they be doing?
Yeah, so I would say number one is try to obtain a plot map or site survey for the property, because that's super helpful in the designing process. Number two is start to Google, Instagram, Pinterest, just start looking at different pool styles. Know that if you're going to do something super fancy, it's probably not going to be realistic, but start to look at the styles, the different options, straight lined pools, curvature pools. You want something more natural looking, something more modern, kind of just start to look and get comfortable and familiar with all the different styles out there and begin to put a little library together. Because one of the first things that we're going to have our customers do is fill out a form for us. On that form, we go through, there's places for you to upload example photos of what you're looking for. And so include all of those, and that kind of helps guide us and our design team towards, actually implementing your vision. Because we can actually then see, oh, this is the style you're going for. And then here's the shape of your yard, and you want this type of pool. And then we begin to kind of put it all together into what we call a preliminary design. which is our first attempt at getting the vision of the customer down. And you mentioned revisions, so I don't know if I can just add on to that really quick. We start with that preliminary, and then we offer 2 full revisions for free, included with that package. So that allows usually between those 3 iterations, we can find something the customer loves.
Right. And, I feel like you won't have to have more than 1 revision if you are, I guess, realistic, with your expectations, and having a good understanding, like you said, like I want a free form pool and I know my backyard should allow this much space and I really want this pattern tile. And I know that, if you do a little bit of homework, you can find out if these tiles can be sold somewhere like Ocean Glass and Tile or MPT or something like that. Just actually, looking at stuff that you can buy. I would think that would just make things so much easier for everybody.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And we give our customers consulting on that too. So if they find a certain type of tile or material that they're really into, we can kind of give them some options of, all right, this is one similar that you can actually use that's frost proof, because that's a big thing that we want to make sure people are prepared for with tile specifically. And, we kind of take their ideas and then we bring them to life, but we're also bringing them into reality and making sure, hey, what's realistic here? What's the cost going to be? Which is another thing that helps inform revisions. After they do that preliminary design, we can do a cost assessment on the project and then tell them kind of what they're aiming towards so that then they can make changes to the design based on what they actually want to spend.
Nice. I like that because you guys have seen so many different pools and designs that you can probably see somebody's vision and it's like, can't maybe get that exact style, but this is something similar and this can actually be done. Like that was a one-off in Bali or Australia or a exotic location, but we think you might like this.
That. Exactly.
So project management is a huge thing. I mean, it can really make or break your business or whether you're going to make money or not, or just make you crazy in general. So what do you got for project management that can help people?
Yeah. So that's interesting because, when my dad called me into his office and he was, needing help to modernize his business, I wanted to see how he was managing his projects. And he just had a giant whiteboard in his office and every customer was a 3x5 note card and he'd kind of move them along the board to wherever they were in the phase, whether it's dig, steel, plumbing, etc. Which is great, except for he has to write all that information out on a note card, constantly update it, move it around the board. And it's just kind of one-dimensional. So what we do for our homeowners who are running their own project is we actually build them a project management board. It's an online software that we created that they actually use to manage their projects and oversee them. And so they put all of their subcontractors' information in there. They mark things as they're being done. They have dates there. They have cost assessment there as well. All the contracts, bids, proposals, all those things are there in their board for them. So what we've done for the pool companies is kind of do the same thing. We take those project management boards and we implement them into a pool company so that they can actually see all of their customers at a glance, where they are in the process. And what's really cool about it is as things are completed, as they mark something complete, it's easy as a click of a button, moves them to the next phase, and then it notifies the homeowner, hey, you're about to go into gunite. Here is how you should prepare for gunite. Make sure there's no cars in the driveway. Make sure that the area is clear for the gunite crew. Just simple things like that. It's basically a check-in email, but it makes the homeowner know, hey, this is what's coming up. This is how I should prepare. And it takes the burden off of the pool company to have to reach out and tell people these things because it's all set up as automations within that project management board. So it's a really cool system for pool companies that helps save them a ton of time and also helps to, just increase that customer engagement without putting the burden on the shoulders of an office manager or a pool contractor. It also can notify subs, which is really cool. So if you have certain subs that you use for every phase, we'll put their information in there. And then when something is done and the next sub is ready, it'll actually send a direct message to that sub and say, hey, we have a project ready for you. What's your availability? What time can we book you? And so then that whole process becomes automated as well. So it's a really cool system that we've gotten a lot of really great feedback from.
Well, that's awesome for the homeowner. I mean, it's awesome for anybody who can get their hands on it. I mean, everybody's been there. It's like, don't know the gate code. There's a party at the house. Why is there a party in the middle of the day? It's whatever. It's summer break and there's a million cars in the street, in the driveway. Yeah, it's always something. So is there a way that professionals can use this software after working with you guys or something?
Yeah. So if you're working with our company, I mentioned that we do this consulting with other contractors. So this is something we actually develop for them inside of their business. So I actually personally set it up for them. So it's something that I actually have to go in and build for them and then kind of hand it over and show them how to use it.
So do you do that? Can you work with any subcontractor, or is it just pool builders, or who are we talking exactly?
Yeah, so I do it for all of our homeowner clients and I do it for pool companies. That is primarily who I've done it for, but I could really do it for anyone. So even subcontractors, if they wanted to start using a project management board, it could easily be set up in their business.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I'm curious, you're working with all these different types of people. What is the thing that you see people struggling with most? I'd probably say more professionals than anything, but what is it that you see they struggle with most, and what do you think they can do to be better at it?
Yeah. So working with pool companies, the thing I think that they struggle with the most, pool professionals, is time management. I just see so much time being wasted on tasks and doing things that could be, automated and put into a system so that you don't have to touch it. Whether that's calling appointments, calling people back like, hey, did you look at my proposal? Or calling, hey, are you going to be there for our 5:00 appointment? Just simple things like that. Customer folders and making sure that all those are digital and not paper folders, no paper contracts, no paper proposals. All these things just take too much time and really take time away from doing what you're supposed to be doing as a business owner, which is focusing on actually running the company or doing the work that you need to do. And so I think there's a lot of time waste that I see. And I think that time is the biggest challenge that I hear is I don't have enough time in the day. I'm running around. I feel like I'm, burning the candle at both ends. That's the challenge I hear the most often from our pool professionals. From homeowners, it's a little different for them. I think the biggest challenge for a homeowner is actually finding good subcontractors. And that's one of the things that we are trying to be the biggest assist with, is helping guide them in that process. But it definitely comes up as one of the bigger challenges, is finding good quality work. And so if there's anyone listening who is good quality work, please reach out to us so we can put you on our list and get you some good jobs, because that is, I think, the number one challenge with homeowners.
Right. And we will put a link in the show notes. So anybody listening, if you want the link to where he's talking about, we'll have that. So you can check below and we will have that. So talk about having a marketing background and offering that as a service, and you have online presentation. I think that's really cool. I'm assuming you kind of coach people as well on how to actually present a design. Can you talk a little bit about the marketing side and the online presentation?
Yeah, I would love to. So with the presentation, that's something that is done. We actually have our pool contractors do that through Zoom, and we have their designs ready to go. You do a screen share, you go through these designs, you showcase what's possible. And I think the biggest thing that I teach salesmen, pool salesmen or pool companies, is to make sure that the customer is heard and understood and that they're doing most of the talking. I think that a lot of times we have a tendency as business owners to want to tell people what we can do for them and just constantly feed them information. But I think it's really good to ask the customer a lot of questions and make sure you understand not just what kind of pool they want, but maybe why do they want a pool? How are they going to use the pool? What is it going to, this is a big investment. So why is it so important to them that they have this? Kind of getting to those deep rooted things, those feelings, I think are the number one marketing tool when selling pools or selling yourself or a business, is to really ask the right questions and understand the deeper motivation of why somebody's doing what they're doing. So that's something I've learned in marketing that I felt is just been a game changer when implemented correctly. And then with a pool company or a subcontractor, especially because it's a localized business and you service a local area, I think it's really important that you're marketing yourself to that local community. And one of the best ways that you can do that is making sure you have a good Google business page, because everybody is using Google now. I mean, that's the number one go-to source for looking a business up. So if you're a subcontractor and you don't have a website, don't worry about it too much. Just get a Google business page. Like, put yourself on Google, make sure that you get some reviews from anybody who uses you. And because that's the number one search thing, especially for local businesses. Yelp, I kind of ask people, hey, steer clear of Yelp because it's just Yelpers are just horrible people usually. But Google tends to be a great place. Facebook is also still a widely used place for that. And what you'll find also is there's a lot of groups out there. So if you can, if you're in, let's say, Mesa, Arizona, just look up what kind of Facebook groups are in Mesa, Arizona. Are there community groups? Are there any sort of online groups that you can kind of get into and say, hey, this is what I do and this is how I can help. Especially in these areas like Arizona or Texas and Florida, those three states right now have a lot of people moving in. And so there's a lot of different online Facebook groups of people who are new to the area and looking for recommendations for certain trades because they're doing renovation projects on a house they just bought. So I think that that's really key as a marketing point right now, is to just use organic marketing that is available to you. I mean, paid marketing works, but there's a lot of things that can be done organically that can really help boost your business.
So when it comes to marketing, what are some other kind of cool things that you can do with, the build?
Yeah. So another thing that I feel like is great for marketing is before and afters. I think it's widely unutilized in this industry. I see a lot of kind of generic posts from pool companies on their social media sites or things like that just kind of stock images, or maybe they show a completed pool. But you're there before that pool is built, especially as a pool company. Take a photo of that before backyard and catalog it so that when that pool is finished, you can take an after shot. And before and after photos are some of the best content that can be used on social media platforms and anywhere you can put them up, especially on a website. It's almost as good as a testimonial review because it says a lot without having to actually say anything. It just shows the work. It shows the actual product and what happens working with your company. So definitely utilize before and after.
That's a great idea. I mean, some of the most addicting social media feeds are the ones that have the discipline of, recording stuff from the very beginning, almost layout phase. And then, doing, where they're kind of, I don't know if I've seen anybody do this, but I imagine like a family looking like a football team and they break through the paper and there's boring backyard with just dirt. And then they do it again and it's like they fall into a beautiful pool and there's a backyard. People do other weird stuff with it, TikTok, Instagram, but yeah, like have fun with it. You know, that interaction you get from it, I feel like that just fuels everybody to keep on going, you know?
Definitely, yeah. And I think people are interested in seeing the transformation too. Customers are. And so take a photo on after every phase of the construction project. If you're not on site, have your subcontractors take a quick photo with their iPhone and send it over to you. And now you have a picture of the pool through every phase. And not only can you share that on your website as a cool carousel, just watching a pool come to life over every phase, but it's also something you can gift the homeowner at the end of this. And so, hey, look what we did. And then ask for a review. And it's like, hey, you get this cool little thing. Check out what we made for you. And then here's a review, leave a review for us. And it's also a good way to capture those testimonials directly from the clients.
Thank you, Brandon. That's great advice for anybody listening. So how can people find DIY? How can they reach out to you? Give us your information.
Yeah, so if you're a homeowner, DIYpoolsandspas.com will give you the information you need. If you're a subcontractor, you can go there, get our email, or fill out a contact form. You'll see that there's a link on the very top of our webpage that says contractors and home builders. So just go to that, and then you can fill out a request form, and we'll get in touch with you and see how we can help.
Perfect. Thank you. And as always, we'll have all that stuff listed in the show notes and on the website. But thank you so much, Brandon. I know you're busy, and this was a great conversation. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. It's been awesome.
Hey, Pool Chasers. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode. To connect with today's guests, including pictures, links, and resources from everything discussed today, you can visit the episode page at poolchasers.com or click the links below. To connect more with us, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter by searching at Pool Chasers. If you would like to support the podcast, the easiest and most effective way is to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as share the show or your favorite episode with a friend or on social media. Also, you can get early access to each episode by supporting us through Patreon. We know your time is valuable, so thank you for sharing some of yours with us today.
See you out there, Pool Chasers.